Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Salem. And tonight our question comes to us from the most interestingly named Silly Goblin. And I have to say that of all the many names that we deal with at the Vlog, Silly Goblin is one of the more memorable. But Silly Goblin's question is drastically at variance from Silly Goblin's name. Silly Goblin is a chronomancer, or a chronomage, or a time magician. And Silly Goblin's question has to do with time magic and with the lack of resources on time magic. Silly Goblin remarks that in studying time magic, they have been able to find very few references and even less instruction. And it's very interesting that this question should come up because while I was in Florida, one of the classes that I taught was on time magic. And one of the things that is very important about time magic is that it is a fairly modern, a fairly new school of magic. There isn't a lot written about it. It's becoming more and more common, but it's really a very new art. And in many ways, many aspects of it still need to be explored. There is much to be learned. And I think that in the next generation, we will probably see a lot more resources available on it. There are a number of new schools of magic opening. And by that I mean different techniques that have not necessarily been common in the past, but are becoming common in the present. And one of the things that I find most exciting about the time that we are living in is to watch the frontiers of magic expanding. And I personally believe that we know more about magic today and practice it more today than ever in our history as human beings. And we'll do even more so tomorrow. And I feel that one of the things which we, as witches and magical people, must take very seriously is that we are not only transmitting the knowledge of the past into the future, but we are expanding it. The magical world, the magical practice is growing, and it is flowering as never before. And I think that a lot of our people make the mistake of looking backward when they really need to be looking forward. Now, getting back to Silly Goblin, some things that I will tell you about time magic, which I did talk about in my time magic class, and we'll talk about in any other place that I do it, include the fact that there aren't a lot of references because it is a very new art form. And the most important thing about it is that it's not something you want to do lightly. Magic, all forms of magic, deal with the fact that both space and time, the physical world as we perceive it, the passage of time as we perceive it, these are illusory in character. And they're nowhere near as solid, nowhere near as unalterable as they appear. And when we practice magic, we see this. However, because of that, it's very important that we be well-grounded. It's very important that we hold on to our sense of reality, because the world as we perceive it is perceived in a certain way in order to help us to make sense of our experiences. When we practice magic, we transcend some of that normal order of perception. And if you do this without due care, you can sometimes lose the ability to order your experiences in a sensible way. Now, this is not really a problem with most of the kinds of magic that we practice, but when we start talking about things like time magic and other advanced fields of magic, it's really important to stay grounded and to keep your foot in what we perceive as the real world, because it's easy to lose that. And you will meet people in the magical world, if you stay in it long enough, who have lost their footing in reality. It is absolutely possible. And you know, it used to be said of Kabbalah that it was important for people not to study it unless they were at least 40 years old, married, and with children, on the premise that these things would ground them in reality, no matter what they studied. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that as such, but I do believe it's absolutely vital to be well-grounded in reality when doing magic that, in effect, transcends it. It is important to continue to order our experiences in a way that allows them to make sense to us. And when we work with high-level magic, it's very important that while we may transcend some of the barriers that we perceive in reality, that we not lose touch with it. So those are some of my thoughts on time magic, and it is quite true. There aren't very many books about it. There isn't a lot that you can do in terms of finding people to teach you about it unless you happen to know a few people who practice it. And I do believe, however, that this will change in the future, but I also believe that it is one of the more difficult paths in the magical world because it is very much one that can be ungrounding to one's sense of reality. So, I hope that helps you, and until next time, may you blessed be. And check out my new subscription site, thedailyspell.com. For 12 years now, we've been sending out the Daily Spell easy and free of charge to literally thousands of people, and will continue to do so. Thedailyspell.com is a subscription site meant to augment that daily service with deeper stories, deeper news, videos, entertainment, information, many daily features such as Marianne's Mystic Gem of the Day, the daily tarot card, the daily bio, and many more things. So check it out. Subscriptions are $19.99, and until next time, may you blessed be.
Come visit us at witchschoolstore.com and namaste.